It's Arizona Cardinals Cast, Tuesday, October 4th, 2022. Want to welcome everyone to the beautiful part of the program. You know, we talk about a Cardinal subject 4 days a week. My schedule should be normal this week. I know I did not do a show on Thursday and Friday last week, so I'm really excited to be here for you. Thursday and Friday, we'll be talking about the preview to the Philadelphia Eagles-Arizona Cardinals game. But today I want to talk about one man, and I know I've talked about him a bit, but for a good reason, because I think that J.J Watt makes a huge impact on this football team. I think there's a reason why they're 9-1 in the regular season now when he plays. The only team that they can't beat with him, they have beat him before one time, but the only team they've lost to since he's been with the Cardinals, when he's played, is the Rams, twice, in the playoffs last year and in Week 3 this year. But J.J. Watt's impact on this defense. So in the first week, the Cardinals give up 44 points. And then in the first half of Week 2, Watt kind of getting his feet wet a little bit, they gave up 20 points. Since then, in 10 quarters, the Cardinals defense has only given up 39 total points. And you remember 7 of that was on a pick 6 by Kyler Murray last week. So if you take that away, the defense has given up 32 points in 10 quarters, which is fantastic. It's one of the best in the league, obviously, up there. Nobody's got anything on the Niners right now who have given up 9 points, 11 points, 7 points, and 19 points in their 4 games so far. But I will say, J.J. Watt's impact on this defense has been great. They had 9 batted balls. 9. Yes, say it again, Rooney. 9 on Baker Mayfield last Sunday. Jalen Hurts, another somewhat undersized quarterback. I think it's going to be huge this Sunday. 1, obviously, to keep him in the pocket. But 2, to also get your hands up, bat some balls down. I think there's an opportunity for J.J. Watt, Zach Allen, and company to, again, bat some balls down on some big third downs. Get the defense off the field. I've already said on Twitter, I love the Cardinals to cover and possibly win this game on Sunday. It's my best bet of the week. I'll let you know that. The others, I'll let you know. And I'm also, remember, I'm 9-1 the last 2 weeks, so I've been rolling. And the only one I lost this past week, I was covering until Austin Eckler scored with 2 minutes left in the game to ice the game for the Chargers against the Texans. So I think J.J. Watt's impact is huge on this defense. I think also just his emotional leadership. Like I got a little bit choked up listening to his post-game press conference. He just had minor heart surgery, procedure on Thursday last week, and he played on Sunday. And there was rumors that he might be sitting out for a couple months, but it sounds like the doctors are saying he could play. He is outstanding. I think as long as J.J. Watt is healthy, I think this defense is at least average. I think he makes that much of an impact. The secondary, I think, is a little bit unfairly criticized. I think Marco Wilson and Byron Murphy are fine as lead corners, and obviously the 2 safeties are 2 of the best probably in the game. Especially since Micah Hyde is injured in Buffalo, I would give it to the Bills as the best safeties in the game. But right now, you could argue with Micah Hyde out for the year and Poyer banged up, even though Poyer made a huge interception last week of Lamar Jackson, that the Cardinals' safeties, Jalen Thompson and Budda Baker, are probably the best in the game. So this team, it really is all about getting off the slow starts. There is something there. This division is gettable. I know the Niners' defense is awesome. The Rams look very vulnerable. That loss 2 weeks ago looks even more frustrating that the Cardinals got off to such a slow start, because throughout most of that game, you could say the Cardinals were the better team on that day. But, you fall down 13-0 to a well-coached team, you're probably going to lose. They could not do that this week against the Eagles. Even though I'd argue that Nick Sirianni, I'm still skeptical that he's a good coach, but the Eagles have unbelievable personnel. One of the best rosters in football. Anyways, so every Tuesday we do our power rankings. We're going to talk about the bottom, then we're going to talk about the top. First, we're going to talk about the bottom. All right, I don't care that they won 2 games. The Bears literally cannot throw the football. They can't throw the ball. They were down 17-12 with a couple of fourth-quarter possessions to a team that didn't have a quarterback. The Giants were literally playing Saquon Barkley out of the Wildcat because Tyrod Taylor was hurt and Daniel Jones was hurt. Daniel Jones is just out there spread out wide, probably because he has the headset, can actually call the plays to Saquon Barkley. It was pretty pathetic performance by the Bears. Now, that had me put them, as we said, really outside of maybe the bottom 4 and the top 4. I would say the bottom 5, really. There's a lot of, but, the Seahawks are exceeding expectations so far this year. The Falcons, as I said, are better than I thought. The Seahawks, I want to see how they play the next against the Saints and Cardinals the next couple of weeks. If they split those games or are competitive in losses, maybe I undersold the Seahawks. That was an impressive performance by Geno Smith last Sunday. But the Lions' defense is tissue, Charmin, baby soft. Baby batter soft. Number 4, Pittsburgh Steelers. It's kind of crazy. A Mike Tomlin coach team, but Cam Hayward got hurt. J.J Watt's out. Minka Fitzpatrick got banged up. Blowing a 20-10 lead to, mommy lover Zach Wilson in the fourth quarter last week was very, very disconcerting. The Steelers, this probably is almost certainly going to be Mike Tomlin's first losing season. They play at Buffalo this week. That's pretty much a guaranteed loss. So they're going to be 1-4. Not looking good in Steel City. That week 1 victory over the Bengals definitely looks like smoke and mirrors right now. Number 3, you kind of play pathetic against the Cardinals like the Panthers did. And I actually have high hopes for this team. I think there's talent, especially on defense. I actually think the Panthers' defense is borderline good. But Baker Mayfield, you have to play probably the best defense in football this week. You have a bad game against San Francisco. I think Sam Darnold's coming in, and Matt Rule might be on his way out. It is not good right now in the Panthers. I actually think they're underachieving a little bit. They totally blew very winnable games to start the season against the Browns and the Giants, and it's coming to bite them in the behindy. Number 2, the Commanders. The Carson Wentz, maybe I just have to get off. Carson Wentz is not that bad. Maybe he is that bad, or maybe just the team formerly known as the football team just can't block. They literally can't block. The Eagles and Cowboys were all over Carson Wentz. Thankfully, they get a break, and they're playing Tennessee. He has a good but not great defense this week. I actually think the Commanders could win this week and possibly get out of the bottom 5. But right now, I got to have them at number 2. Especially the last couple of weeks, they've played worse than any other team in the game. The number 1 is the only team who hasn't won a game, the Texans. Even though they're scrappy, they play their butts off. Davis Mills is better than you think. But they, as we said, they just don't have the talent. They have one of the worst rosters in the league. They did lose to the Bears, which made me very sad because I thought the Texans were better than the Bears, but maybe not. The Texans are in the worst spot in this rankings and might stay there for a little while. They play at Jacksonville this week. Jacksonville looks a lot better. That's going to be a tough ask for the Texans to go down there and win. Now to our best teams. Actually, it's the same top 5 as this week. I was very impressed with the Mike McDaniel, who I know looks like, as I say, it looks like the IT guy fixing your computer at your local office rather than an NFL coach. And also, he's he's quite socially awkward. He makes me uncomfortable listening to him at the podium, especially after the Tua Tagovailoa injury, which please heal quickly, Tua. That was a very scary moment. I think it's the right call, even if he could say he's medically cleared and he's moving around. For him, he needs to sit out at least a couple games. But I was very impressed by the Dolphins. I think Teddy Bridgewater with some reps. I don't understand the line at New York this week, -3. That might be a stay away just because the line. I don't get why the Dolphins, a farly superior talented team, is only favored by 3 of the Jets. You tell me. But I think the Dolphins are still so far this year performed as one of the 5 best teams in the league, even with the loss at Cincinnati. Really, Tampa Bay was a little bit disappointing on defense on Sunday night, so I cannot put the Bucs in the top 5. Number 4, I know they barely beat the Patriots. I actually called it. Don't worry. When the Packers win 31-3 over the Giants in London on Sunday, everybody will anoint Aaron Rodgers and the Packers again. I'm calling my shot. I think the Packers annihilate the Giants in London this week. And then everybody's like, okay, maybe the Packers are, not as mediocre as the media is maybe portraying them to be. I actually think the Patriots are a very well-coached team with Bill Belichick. They just don't have the horses. That was kind of their season. I thought that they would play a spirited effort. The Packers still found a way to win. The defense showed out when they had to. They still have a good defense. They struggle a little bit against the run. Very difficult to throw on. Aaron Rodgers is going to figure these things out. He needs to trust Romeo Doubs. He's a very talented young receiver. Gets open a lot. I know he had a fumble and a big drop last week, Aaron, but come on, buddy. You gotta trust your guys. Devontae Adams is not walking through that door. Number 3, the Bills. I actually flip-flopped them and the Chiefs. The Bills' win was impressive in a different way, falling down 20-3 at Baltimore and coming back from that deficit to win, especially in wet weather. The defense playing very, 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 very well in the second half. Josh Allen making the plays he needed to, even though he didn't play his best game. He's very good down the stretch. The Bills, they still are, Mike Tyson. You could say they're they have the best roster in the league. But with the injury so far, and also, kind of waffling, struggling the last couple of weeks just to be able to find ways to win, I think you got to put the Chiefs ahead of the Bills. They've been neck and neck all year. The Chiefs at number 2. That was probably, you could say, outside of maybe Minnesota over the Philadelphia or Minnesota on the Monday night, week 2, is probably maybe the most impressive individual performance. The Chiefs over the Bucs is 1A, though. That was phenomenal. The Bucs fumbled the opening kickoff, and the Chiefs just never let them off the deck. The Chiefs were in control of that game. You could see all the empty stats that Tom Brady had. I mean, God loves Tom Brady. He's still great. But that was an impressive performance by Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Definitely a bounce back. And, the Raiders, good thing they got their first win because they have their hands full on Monday night in Arrowhead. And number 1 has still got to be Eagles. They fall down 14-0. They're danger to going down 17-0, 21-0 early in the game. They get a break on a 4th and 3 when Trevor Lawrence rolling out fumbles. Pretty much just fumbles. The air defender strips the ball out of his hands and he fumbles it when he had Christian Kirk wide open for a first down. And the Jags would have almost certainly got at least a field goal on that drive. But the Eagles, after the slow start, did what they did, came out, in the second quarter, took over the game. In the second half, took over the game. Nick Sirianni, I know that it's a results league, but let's just say that the Eagles on that 4th and 3, they didn't get it when they had a field goal that would have put them up 2 scores with Jacksonville having no timeouts and under 2 minutes left. Trevor Lawrence went down, tied the game, won it in overtime. I honestly think they would have been the number 1 story in the entire league, entire talk shows, honestly, outside of maybe 1A after the Chiefs, stomping the Bucs. But it would have been a huge story. Everyone would have been ripping Nick Sirianni. I'm still skeptical of him as a coach, but this roster is unbelievable for the Eagles. But I think the Cardinals match up well with them. I actually am pretty excited about the game this week because I think the Cards are catching the Eagles at the right time. The Eagles are not going to blow out every team they play. That could be the Eagles' first really, really big test of the season. Anyways, follow me on Twitter, @StuDrew. I appreciate you listening to and watching my video. Have a great day. Thumbs up. See you Thursday.